So in terms, when it comes to ranking every offense in this division from worst to best, at number 4, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, with the quarterback situation, it doesn't really do them a lot of justice. You're kind of damned if you do if you start Russell Wilson. You're damned if you don't if you start Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields gives them way more upside because what he's going to bring to the run game. And yeah, he may not be as polished as a passer as what Russell Wilson is. Russell Wilson isn't the same QB that he once was when he was playing for the Seattle Seahawks. He can't see in the middle of the field. He does look like a better fit in Arthur Smith's system than what he did under Sean Payton. He's going to have the opportunity to take a lot more shots downfield. He also is going to be able to get outside the pocket, which is utilizing what Russell Wilson has been known for throughout his career. Your running back room is pretty good, but your receivers and tight ends are lacking. You don't have a clear number 2 option. Trading away Deontay Johnson definitely hurts you. Your offensive line looks really good, and I like Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator, but I still feel like the jury's out on him. He did a really good job with Tennessee, but with how his stint went in Atlanta, just underutilizing his best players, I really don't have too much confidence that he's going to be able to make just a complete overhaul with this offense. And this offense goes from being one of the worst in the NFL over the last 3-4 years to one of the best. I think under Arthur Smith, the Steelers offense will probably be average or maybe slightly above average at best. At number 3, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. You have arguably the best quarterback in this division. Some people would say Lamar's better than Joe Burrow. Other people will argue and say Joe's better. I don't really think it's worth making the argument. Both of these guys are elite quarterbacks, and anytime they're fully healthy, their teams are championship caliber with them on the field. Running back, you got Zach Moss, but after him, I don't really know about Chase Brown being your RB2. At wide receiver, as long as T. Higgins plays, you're going to be fine. But if he chooses to make a dumb move and just not play this season, and you got to start Jermaine Burton, then you're going to be in a little bit of trouble because I don't think Charlie Jones is going to be good enough to get the job done, and neither is Trent Irwin. It depends on how you're going to use Mike Gesicki, because I do think that Mike Gesicki does have the potential to be the third option in this passing attack as long as you get his number called. So I don't think that, Mike Gesicki is just one of those additions that you should just scoff over. Like, they call his number. I think that he can be productive. And Zach Taylor, I think that he deserves a little bit more respect than what he's given around the league. Most people think that he's kind of the beneficiary to having Joe Burrow, but anytime Joe Burrow has gone down, he still has found ways to get, solid, serviceable quarterback play. Like, if you would have told me that Jake Browning would have played as well as what he did last year, I would have been incredibly surprised. Like, there was times when Jake Browning looked like Dollar Tree Joe Burrow. So I think Zach Taylor deserves a little bit more for his prowess as an offensive mind. I think he's one of the more underrated head coaches in the game. At number 2, I have the Cleveland Browns. Outside of their quarterback situation with Deshaun Watson, this is arguably the best offense in this division, man. You're going to have a top 10 offensive line. You got a pretty good wide receiving core. You got Amari Cooper. Then you got Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy. Guys who have upside to become really high-end second options. And then Kevin Stefanski, with him being able to win games and get to the playoffs with Grandpa Joe Flacco, he has a lot of respect for me. And the thing with Kevin Stefanski is just that, it's been a lot of inconsistency with him. Is he going to be able to get back to the playoffs again? Or is this going to be a season when, they just disappoint because they can't find a way to make it work with Deshaun Watson? So with all the money that they're investing into Deshaun, he has to find a way to make it work because this team is just way too good, for them to just not be able to make it back to the postseason because Deshaun Watson holds them back again. Like, this is Deshaun Watson or die for Cleveland this year. And at number 1, I got the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are pretty stacked. You got Lamar, who's coming off his second MVP win. You got the best running back room, arguably, in this division. You can make the argument for either them or the Browns. Either or, it doesn't really matter. Like, they got Derrick Henry, who still is going to be a bulldozer. You are pretty good at wide receiver. You could be a lot better depending on if Rashad Bateman is able to take that next step this year. But you're going to have Zay Flowers. We know that he's going to be really good. He should be a Pro Bowl caliber player this year. You got Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews at tight end. So I like what the Ravens have in the receiving room and at tight end. Their offensive line is a slight concern, but I think they'll be able to have it figured out. We don't really know what's going to happen at right tackle or right guard, but I think their left side, including what they have at center, is pretty fine. So really, it's just the right side of that offensive line that's concerning. And Todd Monken, he did an incredible job with this offense. Lamar Jackson obviously had the best season of his career throwing the football with Todd Monken calling the plays, and I expect him to only get better year two in Todd Monken's system. The only reason I don't have Todd Monken rated a little bit higher is because, that was only his first season as the OC at the NFL level, and plus, I still have a kind of bitter taste in my mouth for the play calling that we saw out of him in the AFC Championship game, bro. Like, it was a point where he was probably the runaway winner to win NFL Assistant Coach of the Year, and instead, you look at Mike Macdonald, and he ended up taking the claim for that because, how good that defense was. But Todd Monken definitely is a really good offensive coordinator. He deserves to be talked about. He needs a little bit more recognition than what people give him in the national media. People only talked about him for his bad play calling in the AFC Championship, but people just overlooked how good this dude was for the majority of last year. So this is my breakdown and rankings for every offense in the AFC North going into the 2024 NFL season. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below.